You know, it is crazy how much time flies by. I read Soul Eater, and I feel like I remember talking about when I read Soul Eater on this show and in our Discord, Paramecia Flower Capital, permanent invite links in all of our social media. Got 'em. I read it. It must have been like 2 years ago, I think, that I read it, but it's so vivid in my mind. Anyways, I started reading Fire Force recently because a friend was like, oh, the last couple chapters just came out, and there's tie-ins to Soul Eater, like heavy, so you gotta read it. And I was like, well, I really enjoyed Soul Eater, so yeah, I'll read it. And, God, Fire Force is so good and so ridiculous at the same time. Okay, they all had fire-based powers, right? So
it's in the title, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the title, and they're firefighters. So I thought that we wouldn't approach JoJo levels of insanity.
Right, fire only does so much.
Yeah.
They're firefighters, but surprise, you can fight fire with fire.
Foolish me. I get to the recent chapter, the recent arc I just finished up, and there's a character whose power is, and I'm not kidding, he can superheat the space around him to levels of heat that match the Big Bang, thus making the space around him expand at the rate that the universe is expanding, thus putting him in a temporal bubble where time moves slower for him, and you just perceive him as moving like, what's that meme, like, I'm fast as hell, boy.
See, like, it almost makes sense until you're like, okay, time bubble.
Yeah.
Like,
once you reach the time bubble, it's like, okay. And then, not to be shown up, the main character, so what he does is he's like, I don't understand this guy's power. And there's a scientist guy who's like trying to explain it to him, who's on his side. And the main character hears the whole explanation, which, by the way, is like 2 pages of like scientific, like, there's literal charts drawn in, like, to demonstrate how this works to you. And
you love it when it happens once.
Yeah.
But it happens too many times. Oof.
And so the main character's response to all this is quite possibly one of my favorites, because he just hears this overly scientific explanation and is like, oh, so I just need to go faster than him. And the scientist guy is like, well, no, like, because if you go faster than him, like, you'd be approaching the speed of light. And the main character says, yeah, so I just need to do that. And then he does that. He goes so fast that his body reduces to atoms. Like, his body separates into, like, individual atoms. And then, like, right when he approaches the speed of light, he stops so his body, the atoms, can come back together, and he can deliver a kick that's, like, able to destroy matter. And he's just like, it just gets so ridiculous so fast.
So, like, here's the issue. And like, it sucks because, like, I don't want to be like, well, actually, like, from what I understand, I'm no physicist. I just take an interest into this, I like science fiction, and it's very satisfying when science fiction takes inspiration from science fact. That being said, from what I understand, I think it depends how they define, like, as hot as the Big Bang, because the scale of the Big Bang is like, we don't know anything that happened before, I think, it's like 10 to the negative 12, like 0.1 times 10 to the negative 12 seconds, right?
Yeah.
We're talking like the fraction of fractions of seconds. That first second, like, yes, there is, like, okay, this is gonna sound stupid. The Big Bang happened, therefore, it is, right? Everything is at that second. But conversely, from my understanding, matter as we know it, in any capacity, as atoms, as like the little things like gluon and like muons and quarks and the things no one really knows because it's not covered in high school, like those things don't exist in this like fraction of a second. So like, and like not to like I'm thinking too much about this clearly, but like him reducing himself to matter, like bare matter, is really cool because yes, heat is just the movement of molecules, and like it is interesting to inform that science fiction with the science fact of what heat really is. But because I am like science pilled, I guess, I know that like calling the first state of the universe matter is a misnomer. I know that like this fire force, like, oh, I'll just go faster than him. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work, buddy. The Big Bang,
it was fairly ridiculous, but also the guy he's fighting stops time, and he's like, oh, if I can stop time before he moves, like, I win. I can kill him in the frozen time. And then like he freezes time, and he pulls a Dio where he's like looking around, and he's like, where is he? Like, he's gone. And then, like, he undoes time, and the dude is, like, in front of... The main character is in front of him and, like, kicks him. And he's like, oh, like, I managed to do it. They're like, what the hell is going on? And, dude, it's a wild ride. I am loving the series so far.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see how it ties into Soul Eater and stuff.
Dude, yeah.
But it is just absolutely bonkers. Like...
I need to like also get into it. Also, it doesn't really matter, but like matter started existing after 0.1 times 10 to the negative 12 seconds. But if we start defining it from the very beginning, that we can calculate, that we can understand, so through scientific method, being less than 0.1 times 10 to the negative 43 seconds, which is like orders of magnitude smaller, then that's when like physics no.
And you know, I wish I could be a fly on the wall of a like quantum physicist or somebody who or some scientist who is a fan of Okubo's works, and it's like, man, Soul Eater was so good. God, I'm gonna dig into Fire Force, and I want them to get to this chapter and be like, what the hell?
It's a non-zero number. There's definitely someone out there, and like it would be very funny because like, you know, physicists like specialize in things. They know about other stuff, but they're like, oh yeah, like this one patch of the microwave background that's out there, like that one patch I'm a specialist in, right?
Yeah.
It'd be much funnier if it was like some guy who's like, yeah, I study the Big Bang specifically from like the Planck epoch straight to the, like, you know, it'd be good. Let's get
so
these
good.
nerds onto something.
Yeah.
Let's give them manga.
Let's give them manga. Oh my god, I want to give like an engineering major air gear and just watch them either like have the best time of their life or have an aneurysm.
I need to pick that one up again too. Oh man, I switched phones, so like something that I had was like lost, and you know, I'm getting back. Yeah. I'm getting back into it. But let's get into this. How about that?
We're not a science podcast yet.
You can't say that as if we're either of us are gonna get a degree in some scientific field.
As if we're in slow but sure transit towards a science focused podcast.
Like it's not even a joke. Unless
just making wild ass claims for no reason.
Hey,
we're not a science podcast yet. No, stop saying that.
We don't study marine biology yet.
Oh, you mean our JoJo podcast?
Dude, I'm gonna become a marine biologist to get over my fear of the deep ocean. And when they're gonna be like, oh, why'd you apply to this program? Oh, Jotaro Kujo, despite being an absentee father, is pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool marine biologist role model in your field.
Oh god, but we're doing chapter 1043, Let's Face Death Together. This one was a big one.
Absolutely buck wild.
Very much in the tradition of Oda being like, hey, sit on this one, and then he just takes a break.
Yeah. He pulled, like I described it in an earlier Discord call before we started recording, he pulled a Dressrosa on us where he gave us basically the black panel that just said Gear 4th, and then it was like, hey, surprise, I'm on break. You're going to have to sit on this for a whole week.
Dude, like, that black panel was like, that was a move, but it was so good. It was very like Tite Kubo. But
Yeah.
because Oda doesn't do that kind of thing, and we have like an idea what the gear system is, like, oh, chef kiss. But at the end of this chapter, it's just kind of like,
It's a, excuse me?
Well.
Like,
honestly, we can skip the cover story. It's just Oven with a Brulee.
yeah, it's there. It's Germa 66's an Emotionless Excursion, Volume 7, arrived at Whole Cake Island. So they're just like funny walking towards Whole Cake Island. I'm assuming that they're gonna bring it to. I have to assume that Katakuri is in charge, and the only reason they would bring it to that specific island is that he's there, like, you know, he's in charge of these group of Big Mom pirates while she's out getting destroyed in Wano.
The only other detail is that you see like some leftover destruction from the Straw Hats being there.
Yeah, you see the cake like completely toppled over. But yeah, nothing else of value really, just them.
Yeah, fuck them.
I like how Oven's walking is kind of funny, I guess.
And that fills our quota.
Yeah. Oh god. No, but we get right into it, and god, right where we left off, Luffy getting the Roblox oof. I know it says ooh, but just Roblox oof.
Yeah, Vanessa Satone, if you could just real quick, like you've got the fonts.
I
like
know
you might
you
have like
have
hand
the
lettered
Roblox
this,
font.
but like,
Yeah.
yeah, just give us an oof real quick, please.
I know you have the Roblox font somewhere on your computer. It may or may not have been for a joke or a meme. You might have had to seriously use it at one point, but I know it exists. But no, Luffy straight into the ground. Kaido, you see the Supreme King Haki like just shooting, like the black lightning just shooting out of the ground as Kaido's like club. And this series of 3 panels, like Luffy coughing up blood, Kaido, you see the veins like gripping his club, and then you don't even see the like full eyeball. You just see the shading of the CP0 guy's like mask. Dude, I got what I wanted in this chapter. People will be like, oh, like, Oda doesn't kill. This was satisfying. I'm satisfied.
Yeah, I wish we had at least seen a swing, but like, so first,
Yeah.
there's just the crater, and then we get the third CP0 guy who's back. He's still like in the castle. He's just kind of just like wondering. He probably senses something go on, and as usual with Luffy using his gears, with Gear 4 specifically, his soul leaves his body and he's dead.
Yeah. Oh, God. And Kaido's just like looking at the smoke like shoot out of his body. And you just get Momonosuke as he's pulling the island, and he's just like, I don't hear Luffy's voice anymore. And it's like, oh, like, okay. So he's like dead.
I don't know. Like that's the first point I want to like hit on. It like,
yeah, I think he was just knocked unconscious, but
right, like we don't necessarily have too much of a precedence of like, how do people's voices, like when it comes to the voice of all things, how do people's voices react when they're unconscious, when they're dead, etc. So, like, there is the possibility that it's read as just like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
Especially, like, Luffy lands in the next page, just as he is, just tiny rubber boy, completely silent, with the like, shh over it. And, it's like, I don't know how to describe, like, the sh as a sound effect is apt in this situation. It's very useful, but like, the Japanese, it reads sheen, and that is like pinprick, not pinprick, like pinhead on the floor. You can hear anything kind of silence. Like,
oh god, yeah.
That's the kind of silence that's going on right here. And we just get an Oda box. Battle on the roof of the Skull Dome. Winner, Kaido, King of the Beasts. And, man.
Oh, man. Kaido's face. Just staring at the... this is interesting to me, too, because he's like, so you're prepared for what happens next. And he just... the CP0, the Go guy, just, like, pulls his hat down. And the speech bubble is ellipses. Like, he just is silent. He doesn't say anything. And it's like, he's just accepting it.
Dude, like, think about last chapter and how he was, like, saying, like...
to Drake, yeah.
To
like,
Drake, how he was jealous of him.
Yeah, because, was it a chapter or 2 chapters ago? He told X-Drake, like... or no, it was last chapter. Yeah, because he was like, oh, why are you joining with Straw Hat Luffy? Like, why are you changing sides or whatever? And Drake's response was, because this is what my justice tells me to do. And the Go guy, his response was, I mean, we brought it up in the episode, it was very curious. He was like, oh, like, I'm jealous. Or, like, I'm jealous of that. Like, it's sort of implying, like, oh, like, you know, he doesn't have a choice, you know? Like, we kind of touched on it a little bit. Like, he's sort of the unwilling, like, CP0 agent, I guess.
Kind of, yeah. Like, he knows he's just a pawn, basically.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily like his acceptance here when Kaido does the big swing.
Yeah.
But he's kind of just been complacent. That's just what his character has been. And like,
yeah,
you know, even unto death, assumedly, but like, it's Kaido we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm inclined to believe that he is dead because, like, so I don't. This third guy, okay, because we had names for all of them except for this guy. The other guy was the Yoshi's Story Elephant.
Yes, Pac E Derm. He
got
a name.
Yeah,
like a real name.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was Pac E Derm, I think is what Oda wrote. And then this guy is just the Go guy. And then this third guy, do you remember that ancient YouTube channel? It was Buckethead, and he played the guitar with like a KFC bucket on his head.
A YouTube channel? That was like a famous guy before
he
YouTube.
Like post. Yeah, well, yeah, I remember finding his videos on YouTube. That's
he does look like Buckethead.
But this guy is Buckethead, this third CP0 agent. He has a KFC bucket on his head. All of that to say that,
or I mean, you know, you're comparing very similar things. He looks like Slash from Guns N' Roses.
Yes, Slash. Well, hold on. Have we ever seen Slash and Buckethead in the same room at the same time?
I haven't.
Yeah, that's enough for me. No. But yeah, so like Kaido swings down, Go guy, assumedly gone. The entire top of the skull is getting destroyed, and
I'd like to assume he's gone.
Yeah, to me, it really feels like he did like just let himself get killed because of the reaction of Buckethead here. Because we see all the crashing, and he's silent, and then we see him like tip his hat. He does the same exact thing that the other guy did, the Go guy.
Damn, m'lady.
Yeah, they hit each other with the m'lady till death do us part. So I'm thinking the Go guy just like did what he had to do to stop it, and then it sort of accepted his fate. Whether he was successful in stopping it with what we see at the end of the chapter, maybe not, but
I don't know. What I do know though is like this whole fire stuff, that's like the whole kind of issue right now, other than Kaido having won. Like, I think I've solved it, but I'm not the only one who has. But we'll leave that for a second.
yeah.
Right now, though, Kawamatsu is out in the battlefield. He's in the performance floor, if I recall. We don't get a little tip. And he starts like yelling like, oh, there's thousands of our comrades inside the building. We're up in the sky. There's no water here. There's nothing we can do to stop this conflagration. I beg of you, leap out of here. There is no glory in being burned to death. And like, again with this glory stuff, like, you know, come on, Komamatsu hasn't had these conversations like the other samurai have about like, hey, bud, don't be so eager to die.
Yeah.
But also, Zunisha can fix the fire. I have just realized.
Yeah.
Because Zunisha did that before. Like, when Zo was...
Yeah, Zunisha did the little thing elephants do.
It wasn't on fire, but it was just like attacked, right?
Yeah, I forget. They were using the it was when they got to Zo, and they're like using the poison gas and stuff, and then Zunisha like, because I remember there was a scene where it was Brook and Chopper, because they're devil fruit users, they were like, because Zunisha did the thing that elephants do where she picked up the water and she like sprayed it on her back.
Yeah.
And it caused like this like, you know, these torrents of water to like run through the, you know, the roads and stuff, and like it was basically just like a river, like, because I remember there was a scene where Sanji and Nami had to save Brook and Chopper because they're like, oh, you guys can't swim. Like,
I really think that, like, you know, that's the solution here. I'm not the only one who's thought of this. I think, like, I kind of recall seeing some shit like this on Twitter, but like I'm willing to bet now that that's what it is. But the fire's not the only problem. We get a blast breath straight to some of the remaining samurai, and Kaido just shows up in his dragon form. He's taking numbers. Where's your leader? I must have Momonosuke's surrender. It's funny that he says surrender specifically.
Yeah.
Straw Hat Luffy is dead. If anyone else wishes to challenge me, step forward. And, you know, the Beast Pirates are like, oh, yeah, whatever. And then the samurai are kind of like losing hope. And I don't even random like revelation that he has some concept of the voice of all things, or it might be Conqueror's Haki. I don't know.
Yeah, this was so... I like popped off when I read this because I was like, wait, like, what? Excuse me?
Yeah, all of a sudden, Law's just like, oh, like Straw Hat Luffy's voice has vanished.
That's absolutely wild.
I'm not like super surprised, but at the same rate, like, oh, okay, Oda.
Yeah, crazy. And like, I don't even know what this means going forward. Cause I'm like, well, hold on, like, cause, well, no, he was on Zo for a little bit, but then, no, he was there when Zunisha had her freak out.
Law was?
Wasn't he? Or did he go back to his ship or something?
He was not, I think.
Or had he already gone to... Because he was on Zo. He made it to Zo with them. Because he came from Dressrosa on Bartolomeo's ship.
Directly to Zo?
Yeah, because he met up with his crew on Zo. And then when we were leaving Zo, he told them, like, hey, like, we're going to Wano. We'll meet you there. Like, do what you have to do on Whole Cake Island. But I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I don't think that he wasn't shown to have the same... Because the scene focused on Luffy and Momonosuke.
Right.
So he didn't have, like, a scene of him hearing Zunisha at all. But, like, the fact that he could hear Straw Hat's voice, like, in this chapter, I'm like, okay, like, is it like a new thing, I guess? Did he just awakened or something? Like, I'm down either way. I'm just like, dude, this is crazy, like, that he has it now.
Right, like...
Especially with his newfound newfound interest of wanting to, like, find the secret of everything.
Newly revealed, yeah. But it's hitting Kid hard. Both of them. He says, it was a short-lived dream. Law answers, this is cold, brutal reality. There's nothing left in the tank. Chopper's crying about it. Nami just starts picking a fight. And like, she's yelling at Kaido from she was up on the stage, I believe. There's no way Luffy lost. Of course he's not dead. That's ridiculous. And, Kaido sees her out and is like, oh, one of you have Moxie. She keeps calling him a liar. He doesn't even answer, just blast breaths her. And Marco's the only thing between her and just absolute death.
Yeah. God, dude, it's wild. I will say the panel with Nami, man, it's like heartbreaking seeing Nami's eyes drawn that way. Like, her pupils are drawn like all wavy. Like, she is teary-eyed. Like, she doesn't want to believe it at all.
Dude, this episode in the anime is going to hurt.
Yeah. And the fact that she stood up to Kaido, like, I don't give a damn. Like, I hate you. Stop lying. Like, bro, Nami's the best. I love Nami so much.
Dude, he stood up for Nami and now Nami's standing up for him. Like,
so good.
Emotions.
Yeah. Man. We get Kaido just going on a, he's mad now because for a second time in his life, the only person that ever gave him the fight that he desired, it was, stolen from him. So now he's just full on, Onigashima will soon land upon the flower capital as originally planned. Unlike Orochi, I am no pushover. This entire country is one gigantic factory. Women, children, I'll use them all. Everyone here is a slave. When you tire and fall apart, you'll simply die. It's all your life is worth, and there are always more replacements. You dare fight back against me, and you have earned my wrath. And it's like, dude, he's just like...
Dude, he's on it. He just keeps going too.
Yeah, and the people like, oh, like, please, my family. And he's like, this is what it means to lose a war. The cost of your defeat is your freedom and hope. Bring Momonosuke to me. The battle is not over until I deal with him. Which to me is like, man, like that. He will never outlive, like, I mean, this has been, like the theme of Wano, but like, he can't ever outrun like what Odin and what the Kozuki clan did to him as a whole. Like, it's Momonosuke's existence is like a threat to him.
Dude, ghosts that literally haunt him.
Yeah.
It's so good. But after that whole riveting speech, the rest of the Beast Pirates, they like pick back up and they're like, oh, let's get Law and Kid. They're both on death's door. And they're... both of them know that they can't do anything. They're still lying down. You might have beaten Big Mom, but Kaido was always the ultimate adversary. You guys never stood a chance. And then right on cue, their crews come up and start defending them.
I love it. Protect the captains. And then you see even the minks, Garfield and Wanda and Carrot are like, oh, come on, we gotta get up there. And even in the castle basement, they're like, it's nothing but flames on all sides. We gotta go. Search for an exit. And dude, they just beat Big Mom with everything they got. And you see Eustace Kid, like, putting, using Magneto powers to get another arm. And he's like, I'm gonna fight Trafalgar. No surrender. No going out without a peep. And you just see Law, like, pulling out his sword, and he's just like, God damn it, Straw Hat. Like,
dude. And then we get the discourse. The
discourse.
Because, we move away from that, it's basically solved. Nothing's going to happen to them. And we switch to Momonosuke talking to Yamato. And both of them just going at it, you know. Momonosuke starts, "This is madness, I cannot do it. If Luffy couldn't beat him, how can I?" And Yamato's trying to be like a voice of reason here. And like, there are points being made by them, but like, you know, Yamato keeps going, like, you have to fight, even if you know it ends in death. Isn't that what a samurai does? Not necessarily a great argument, but like, you know, that's something that Momonosuke holds in some esteem. Who else but us can do it? Everyone else is torn up. Even Kaido is deeply wounded. Good point. And, you know, Momonosuke, like, other than being scared, is still trying to think of the people of Wano in some way. Yeah. And the samurai too. And in that he says that will only be adding more bodies to the pile. It galls me, but if Luffy already lost, then my only option is surrender. And like, realistically, like, no shonen shit. Yeah, kind of. Like,
yeah.
He's
thinking about it like, if I sacrifice myself, like, to Kaido, like, the people, I mean, they'll have to live, you know, as like Kaido's fucking slaves, but they'll get to live. That's what he's ultimately getting at. Like,
live and maybe like hope for another day.
Yeah.
Like, it is like the best possible reading of what he's saying.
Yeah. Because at this point, Momo is like deep in the, like, they're you know, he's defeated in his mind. He's like, there's nothing. Like, Luffy was the one, and now that he's not here, like, there's nothing. Like,
yeah. Yamato, he keeps on going. "No, I won't let you do that. What will that survival even mean? Only a return to slavery, counting down the days to death. Surrender is not the same as salvation." And that hits hard.
Yeah.
This is what the daimyo from all over Wano did when they gave their lives fighting back against Orochi. The last 20 years of Wano is riding upon this battle. Like, he's right. There is no, like, waiting for hope another day, because it's literally already happened.
Yeah.
Like,
and this is my favorite line from Yamato. Like, if you're going to let it go to waste, then let's face death together. And they're just like staring at each other, and it's like, oh, dude, it's so good. Like,
I feel so bad because, like, he's still an 8-year-old kid at heart, but he is. It's a shame that he has to grow in this way, but he is growing, and he does seem to have some conviction as this conversation ends.
Yeah, so good. And like, Kaido keeps on blasting, and we get to the final 2 pages, and boy oh boy. So let's just go through it, because there's a lot of stuff we gotta talk about. So we just get a shot of Onigashima, and we get like weird onomatopoeias of like da-doom, da-doom, da-doom. And then we get ba-dump, like a heartbeat.
Yep.
Or something.
No, it is a heartbeat.
Yeah. And it cuts straight to Zunisha. And you see Zunisha like a silent ellipses. Immediately, the voice of all things, like Zunisha's voice in the way it's presented in the like speech bubble that like, you know, that the speech bubble with all the, like, the little lines around it.
Mind you, Momonosuke is climbing up, like, with Yamato, assumedly.
Yeah.
As this happens.
Yamato's on his back. You can see in one of the later panels. He's like real tiny on Momo. But we just hear Momonosuke. Huh? I can hear it. Oh, how long it's been. What is it, Zunisha? I hear the drums of liberation. For the first time in 800 years, he is here. And Momo's like, who? Like, who the hell are you talking about? Joy Boy has returned. And you see, I don't even know. You see Luffy grinning, and then something turn into goop. The Straw Hat is turning to goop. Goopify.
So, like, okay. Literally, okay. Let's go little by little.
Yeah.
Okay. Joy Boy is here.
Yeah.
In what capacity? Because, like, okay, like, this dump, it feels like Luffy died, question mark, in some way, and then, like, for, like, a bit. You know, like, in real life, it happens. People die for just a little bit, and then, like, their body, for one reason or another, just goes, oh, shit, I'm not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And so, like, to me, the way I'm reading this, it's either A, Luffy has finally achieved a trait that through which he is deserving of the title of Joy Boy. B, like, he is Joy Boy reincarnate through, like, hereditary means, through, like, succession.
Yeah.
Or C, and, like, I don't know how much weight to put on this, but, like, you know, maybe possession in some sense.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, anything's on the table. I thought of, like, the way I thought of it was like, well, maybe it was Luffy's devil fruit, but not in the way that I thought originally. Because the way they had framed it in the story was like, oh, the devil fruit they were talking about had another name, and the government just named it a different name to try to, like, hide it. But, like, I thought it was just like, oh, like, you know, maybe he's just, like, made up the Gum Gum name or something, or
no, because everyone else was calling it the Gum Gum fruit too.
Yeah, but, like, is it maybe, like, Joy Boy, like, somehow is still, like, in the devil fruit? Like, maybe that was his devil fruit, which is why Shanks and the government wanted it?
That is a very, like, prevalent theory. And, like, I can kind of see it because, like, from the start, there was this whole thing of, like, oh, there's little devils that, like, live in the devil fruits. That's why you can't eat two of them, because then they fight and then you explode.
Yeah.
So, like, there is some kind of, like, logic to that, but at the same rate, like, I don't know how much, like, credence to put to that specifically, especially, like, if the world government would rename a fruit, like, I personally still think that it's Zunisha, specifically because, like, like, if there's, like, someone with a super powerful fruit or whatever, there's a powerful fruit power, like, the best way I would think to make people forget it is to just remove the part of, like, oh, it's a power out of the equation, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, Zunisha either is an elephant because of a fruit power or something. Zunisha has something, is my thinking. And, like, that power that Zunisha has therefore been renamed in the world as Zunisha. And in that way has erased it. Like, that's where my logic lies versus, like, oh, because, like, why would you rename, like, some super special fruit into, like, a Gum Gum fruit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you be like, oh, this still gives me, like, a special power?
Yeah, like, this fruit still contains, like, God inside of it, but we're just gonna call it, like, the Gum Gum and hope nobody does anything. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's like, you know, like, if you got the Holy Grail, right? And you just are like, oh, I want to, like, prevent people from, like, coming in and, like, trying to get it or whatever. So I'm going to rename it. Instead of calling it the Holy Grail, I'm going to call it a cup. But you look at it and it's still the dang Holy Grail. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Man,
I have no idea. I will say, shout outs to Oda for, like, just teasing this sort of thing, like, teasing this specific moment for, like, a couple years now. In 2020, so this is all from, like, Sandman, and I found some Japanese accounts that were also talking about it. Here, I'll send them to you, so because you have the ability, you have the voice.
I have the fruit. that
have
the world
voice of all
government doesn't
things.
want me to have.
Yeah. You have, the fruit that the world government doesn't want people to have. It's that it's the strand of banana that the fake banana flavor came from that got wiped out by like a genetic disease. That's what the world government doesn't want us to have.
It's the Cavendish banana is the one that we mostly have now, right?
Yeah, there's like one banana that we mostly have now. There was another banana that look, we're going to get to the Joy Boy stuff, but
the Gros Michel, that is the previous type of banana.
Yeah. And that one got like completely wiped out. Like we
Fun
just can't
fact,
make it.
the thing that wiped out the Gros Michel banana is now currently wiping out the Cavendish banana.
Nice.
So, hey, 5 years later, 5 years down the line, maybe no banana.
5 years down the line, someone's going to be listening to this podcast and be like, what? Banana? Like the candy?
Hey, if someone in like South Asia, Southeast Asia can just send us some Gros Michel bananas, the bananas y'all have, greatly appreciated. Apparently that's the only place you can get them anymore.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, we had more important things to talk about, these Japanese tweets?
Yeah, no, I'm getting all of these tweets. I sent them to you just because they're like interesting. One of them, I'm reading off Sandman because he compiled like a whole thing about it. But in 2020, Oda talked about, he like gave his personal ranking of like his favorite scenes in the series, and Skypiea, the party at the end of Skypiea specifically, was his third favorite in the entire series. And the drum sound effect, the sound effect of the drums is the same one that's in this chapter as Zunisha's walking, and she specifically calls them out as the drums of liberation.
You're totally right, yeah.
Yeah, it's the exact same.
And there's always been the theory of like the Shandians were like the one part of the people who like rebelled against what is now the world government and like the conglomerated nations.
Yeah, and then even like the sun god Nika, when we saw the silhouette, everybody made a lot of connections to like, oh, it looks like the silhouette of Luffy when he was dancing at Skypiea, and that's also in that party scene. So everyone's like, huh. And then kind of jumping back a couple years, but in 2016, Oda said something along the lines of like, oh, like the audience won't be satisfied if Luffy just beats Kaido with pure strength. Like if he just beats him with a strong punch, like that's not going to be satisfying. So he said something like, oh, me and Luffy will have to find a way to beat Kaido together. And it's like, okay, like, because we kind of already knew that Luffy wasn't going to like, it was not going to be a cut and dry, like this, like Luffy's going to outmatch him in strength alone, and that's it. And then this past year, 2021, when the Sun God Nika thing happened, there was an interview later with Oda, and he straight up said, oh, the next time that the Sun God Nika appears in the series, like the next time he's mentioned, you'll see his face. And everyone's like, oh, what?
That's
and then like also at the end of last year, he was like, I need everybody to start paying attention to Luffy. And it's like, oh god. Like,
the second tweet you sent me, I don't think that it's necessarily concrete. It's just like similar to the theory that's been going around that like you were mentioning that like maybe like some memory or some essence of Joy Boy is in the fruit, and therefore that is like the hereditary mechanism, not per se like, let's say, the will of D, which a lot of other people, like a lot of people theorize may be the mechanism that qualifies him for Joy Boy. I don't know, man. I will say, like, while we're on the topic of like these like more or less solid theories, solid connections, Luffy's laugh it's always been like a like she kind of thing, always, right? Yeah. Like, and it, this isn't a laugh per se, but it's, I'm not going to belabor the point too much, because if y'all are on Twitter, y'all have seen it, but like the word grin or sometimes smile in Japanese is said Nika. And so a lot of people are like being like, oh, a smile, that means he's the god like Nika. Like, I can see how that connection works, but like because like wordplay is such a strong thing in One Piece. But at the same time, like, I would like people to calm down. I'm not saying no, I'm just saying relax a little. The man smiled.
Yeah. I mean, I think it has something to it
For sure.
but people like, I've seen people dumping like oh, it said Nika, oh, everything's confirmed, and I'm like, all right, hold on.
Precisely, that's what I'm talking about.
Let's all calm down, boys.
Like,
but
there is connection between, like, I swear, one day I'm gonna like write an essay about like, if you've read the Bible in any capacity, you have watched all anime. Because there is some degree of like Trinitarian ideology here. You have Sun God Nika, you have Joy Boy, and you have Luffy.
Yeah.
Like
the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
So like,
you know what I'm saying?
It's there is the relation, but like, I don't want people to be like, this is now his like Sun God Nika form. Like, sit down a little bit.
Yeah.
Sit down. He is not, just because he has been deemed soy boy.
Yes. And from henceforth you shall be known as Soy Boy.
Freudian slip, no.
God, what a Freudian slip.
Oh God.
Here comes Luffy's soy jack form.
Just cause Zunisha has now called him Joy Boy does not mean like, oh, now he's a god. Now he's this, now he's that. Like, like, there are two possibilities. Luffy's kind of fucking dead, or Luffy's just like back at it again. And like, it's hard to say because like hockey is still very like up in the air, like we don't necessarily understand it, but Oda's kind of like taken literally all the Deus Ex Machina in the whole series and just been like, hey, and swept it under a rug that says hockey blossoms in the field of battle.
Yeah.
And so like we saw that the last time Kaido knocked him out, he was like, super conquerors King Hockey everywhere, even though he was like unconscious. Like, and he has grown since then, and he has grown during the fight with Kaido. Like, if there is some relation to hockey that maybe we'll find out later down the line, maybe that's why like Luffy has triggered this now. Kaido's like kind of the biggest bad guy other than the world government, but he is like an oppressive force, and Luffy being the drums of liberation, it adds up, I feel.
Yeah. Oh, totally. No, I definitely, I don't see it being like a sort of like, oh, Luffy is like, has awakened his DNA powers of Joy Boy, and now he can shoot Joy Boy beams out of his eyes because it was latent in his DNA all along. Like, I don't think it's anything like that. But I do think it is like, oh, he is the one that like, I don't know, like he is the reincarnation in the sense that like he is the one that the world was waiting for. He was the one person that was like finally here at the right time to like make this thing happen. Because I mean, they were waiting. Like Roger got to the treasure and was like, I can't do anything because we're too early. Like, the person hasn't been born yet. Like, we can't do anything.
Well, like, we've been assuming that, like, I don't remember his exact words, but, like, was it that someone hasn't been born yet? Or is it just, it wasn't the time?
Well, they said, the first time it was mentioned, Rayleigh said we were too early.
Right.
And at that point in the story, everyone sort of assumed, like, it was kind of a, oh, like we were too young to know what to do with, well, because he said that too, like we were too young to know what to do with that answer, and maybe when you guys reach there, but he definitely said we were too early. And then when they expanded upon it in the flashback, like after they got to Laugh Tale, the next chapter, they went back to Fishman Island, and that's when Gold Roger asked Shirley, who is a little, like, Madam Shirley, who was a little girl at the time, he asked her, like, oh, when is the next mermaid princess gonna be born? And she was like, oh, this many. Like, she gave him the years. And so that's when he was like, okay, like, we have, you know, that's when it's gonna happen, like, this many years in the future. And so, I mean, it hasn't been, like, you know, straight up confirmed. There wasn't a scene where he was like, and now I gotta start the Great Pirate Era to keep this going at least 20 years. But it's also like, okay, if you send people on a wild goose chase, like, that'll, you know, if you send people on this chase that changes the world, like, if you start this new generation of pirates, like, eventually someone's gonna make it there. But he definitely knew that somebody needed to be there in 20-ish years afterwards, because he specifically asked when the next mermaid princess, which was Shirahoshi, was going to be born. So he knew about Poseidon and
assumedly
the cycle of like when the next Poseidon would be born.
And maybe there was like some detail of like, oh, like Poseidon is necessary. Maybe the others are necessary too.
Yeah. God, this is just crazy. I want to say, I mean, everyone's been posting on Twitter, but in our Discord, shoutouts to Zeta Phantom, they put a link to a Reddit post about like the inspiration for Joy Boy, and like in Haitian lore, Joy Boy is the spirit of like the drums,
right?
And
it's like
I think we've been over it before,
Indies. And Zeta Phantom, they were the first one to like introduce this to us as well. Yeah.
And it's just like, man, the Joy Boy character, like playing the drums and just wanting to like make people like, I think this ties in this Joy Boy, like he's the reincarnation of Joy Boy. I think it all ties into Luffy and Gold Roger's like dream, because I've probably talked about this before, but so Luffy and Gold Roger both have a dream, right? But it's like every time it's brought up in the manga, we cut away. Yes. And then it cuts back after they've said their dream, and everybody's like, you know, Ace was like, you're so dumb. And then Sabo was like cracking up, like laughing at him, and Ace was like, you're such a child. Like, what the hell was that? And even the same thing happened with Gold Roger. Gold Roger said it to Whitebeard and Odin, and they just started like laughing at him, like, dude, you're a riot, man. You're crazy. I really like people have said like, oh, Luffy's dream is to like, maybe his dream is like Big Mom's, or he wants to hold like a giant party, or he wants to unite everybody. I think his dream is a lot more childish in nature and just kind of dumb sounding.
Something naive, possibly.
Yeah. I think with the Joy Boy connection, I really think his dream is just, I want to make everybody in the world laugh. I think that's literally all it is. And, you know, when you hear that, everybody's going to be like, that's the dumbest dream on earth. Like, what are you talking about? But it's like, it would make sense if he's, you know, the like reincarnation, air quotes every time I say that, of Joy Boy. Because it's like, okay, he knows, like, Blackbeard wasn't the one that Roger was waiting for, because Roger was waiting for the true Joy Boy who had the same dream as him. And it's like, well, who else would that be other than dumb Luffy? And it would make sense with the story of the West Indian, the Joy Boy. Like the Lord of the, like, they play the drums, and then it's like whoever hears the music of Joy Boy is compelled to dance and sing along until he or she has shaken the black coat of despair from their shoulders. And it also says some jazz players claim to have captured Joy Boy's rhythms, but their efforts are a pale imitation of the dance frenzy which can keep humans dancing until they drop. So I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe that's just the sort of, that's what Oda's going for. Like,
it's possible.
The gum fruit, like, just will not let Luffy, like, you know, give up. Like,
yeah, like, little funny rubber boy has to keep dancing.
Yeah.
I I now want to dedicate the rest of our time to what's the goop?
Yeah, yes. Thank you for reeling it back in. Just what on God's green earth is going on?
Gwyneth Paltrow, what have you done?
Gwyneth Paltrow, what have you done? Why have you sold Luffy one of your disgusting vagina candles?
God.
Yeah, but no, I have no idea. The only thing I can think of is that, like, I don't know, because look, the drums of liberation start happening right after we hear, like, the heartbeat. So maybe, like, again, maybe the heartbeat of him is supposed to be the symbol of the the drum of, like, the sun god Nika or whatever. But, like, the only thing I can think of is, like, this on the brink of death. This is when his devil fruit, like, awakens. I don't know what it would do or why it's turning his entire head into goop, but
I understand why a lot of people say it. Like, a lot of people have said straw hat because the way it's covering his face.
Yeah,
I can understand that, especially with, like, the shading that Oda has chosen to go for, but I don't think there's, like, just goopy straw hat now. Like, the topic of Luffy's awakening has been such a heated thing of, like, has it happened yet? Is it Gear 4th? Like, this and that.
Yeah.
Like, I personally think that's what's going on right here.
Yeah. Whatever his awakening is, whatever sort of rubbery mess is about to happen, it happened when his heart started beating, like Kesha said, my heart's beating to the beat of the drums.
I don't think that was Kesha, but let's not get distracted by that factoid.
No, it was Kesha. It was that song.
My God, I swear.
A heart beats to the beat of the drum. Oh, what a thing when you came here with someone.
Okay, yes, it is Die Young by Kesha.
Yeah, Luffy died young like Kesha. Oh no. Die Young by Kesha's about Joy Boy's awakening.
Dude.
Everybody, Kesha stocks are real low right now because nobody's realized the Joy Boy connection. Go drive up the views on Kesha.
Kesha's a real One Piece head. You heard it here first, folks. The other thing, like, it might, because, like, okay, he's smiling. Like, picture this. Kaido is now below him. I just really want to push my this is the awakening agenda.
Yeah.
Kaido's below him, right?
Yeah.
Like, everything around him rubber, so Luffy can go down and then beat the crap out of Kaido. Like, okay.
Bounce him off walls into his fists over and over and over. Yeah.
Not to get,
It would also make sense what you're saying, because Kaido did explicitly say, like, oh, Onigashima, like, I'm gonna drop it on the Flower Capital like I originally planned. And it's like, okay, like, Momo was there, but we see Momo at the end of the chapter, like, stop pulling, like, he's pulling away from the flame clouds. And it's like, okay, if Kaido's gonna drop the island, what's the thing that could, oh, you dropped a rubber ball on the island and it bounced back up, not injuring anybody.
Right. Like, people have been memeing about that, but, like, at this rate, fucking maybe, man.
Yeah.
So, like, to go, not to become the Fire Force guy, but what if string theory?
What if Luffy atomizes? What if Luffy's fruit is the multiverse fruit?
No. Because, like, okay, string theory, like, so smaller than atoms, smaller than everything we know, is like little particles that interact and vibrate, and they're basically like a point. They're, like, legitimately one-dimensional. And those are, like, referred to as, like, strings. Even though they're points, they're one-dimensional. Their vibration in some way, like, makes them string-like, theoretically. And therefore, like, all strings, like, react to each other, the vibrations create other motion, everything's related to each other, blah blah blah. Look, I'm not Michio Kaku. Like, I don't have Discovery Channel fucking specials on this stuff, but I'm saying string theory because if you were in high school around 2010 in the United States, you will remember those like dumb rubber bracelets. Not the Live Strong ones. That was middle school, at least personally. But like they were like shaped like animals and stuff.
Oh my god, yeah.
Silly
they
bands.
were rubber bands. Yep.
Now the universe is just made of silly bands.
Think about it.
But honestly speaking, like when it comes specifically to goop, there's no fucking clue what this is, right?
Yeah, I've no, because there's no even like sound effect for it. That's the thing.
Yeah, there's no like, is it gaseous? Is it liquid? Is it this? Like,
yeah, it's just like goop taking over his body. That's the thing. I don't know. I'm wondering if it's like, do you think maybe it's not, because he wasn't I'm looking at it now. When he fell, his straw hat is off of his head. It's like
it's on his back. Yeah.
So like maybe it's just like maybe it isn't like his hair or anything. Maybe it is the rocks underneath him just becoming like rubber.
That's what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah.
Like,
because whatever it is, Luffy wakes up from his own, like his heartbeat starts beating, and that's what Zunisha hears. Like, I think the implication is that his heartbeat is the drums of liberation, because you hear the initial badump, and then Zunisha's like, I can hear it, and then you keep seeing the da 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 da, like doom da da da.
So the beat of it is like, it's like going off the jab. I think Stephen Paul did a good thing, like doom da 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 doom da da da. Like it has like a bit of a swing to it almost.
Yeah.
And like in Japanese, it does as well. It's like don do to to don to to to.
Yeah,
like it's very like legato on first note, normal second note, and then like staccato on the third and fourth. If you don't know music terms, fuck you. I'm sorry.
If you don't know music terms, get lost, loser. No, but I mean, it seems to me, the way I'm reading this, and I could be wrong, but that his heartbeat is where that's coming from. Because like you see him moving like his hand when you first see the initial onomatopoeia, and then you hear it going like crazy, and then at the like you hear it going like crazy when Zunisha's like, Joy Boy is returned, and when she finishes her thought, the dude is grinning and something's turned into goop taking over his face. So
Ron, did you take AP Theory?
I did. AP Music thing.
Okay, do you remember the whole thing about like there was the explanation of why like common time is using like a stylized C, and how the C doesn't stand for common time, but is instead like a symbol used to indicate like a broken rhythm as opposed to like a perfect rhythm? Do you kind of remember?
Oh, yeah. I remember
so
that.
like apparently this may, so like we took them at very different times, but we both took AP Music Theory, basically like a 100. No, it was pretty comprehensive. It was like, I would say up until like a 300 level music theory course. But like historically, the Gregorian monks, Gregorian chants, when they would like do notations, when they need something that's in 6/8, the time signature is not something that we see a lot in like Western music anymore, in conventional pop music, but apparently it is the meter 6/8 is based off of the human like heartbeat, like the dun dun, the dun, the dun, the dun can be therefore segmented into like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I literally just did it right now. Doom dot 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 doom dot dot dot.
And so like the doom dot 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 doom dot dot the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Like there's like some aspect
fits.
of that. I don't think that Oda knows shit from fuck about music theory or specifically Gregorian musical history. But if the shoe fucking fits, call me a theory crafter, baby.
Dude, I can't wait for this to get animated whenever Toei gets unhacked and just Gregorian chants as the scene is going on.
Dude, fucking Dory May, bitch. Oh my god, I can't wait.
Oh, so good, but
not
yeah,
to like
we are
reiterate, but sorry if you don't know musical terms so much. Like I hope me counting it out and singing it out in a sense can kind of help. I didn't even explain common time. So common time, it's like modern music. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It only goes up to 4. It's 4 over 4. The bottom number, don't concern yourself with it. And it's like very rigid. It can be robotic in some senses. If you have a swing to it, like it's a little different. But like 6, 8, the 6 on top has the like division into it that is apparently derived from the heartbeat, and that's why I'm counting up until 6.
Yeah.
So I can't explain it much better otherwise because I saw it.
Yeah, we are. Look, we're either a physics podcast or a music podcast, but we can't be both.
We are much more leaning towards music. You know that very well.
Oh god. But yeah, we're on break next week, and all of Jump is getting posted as of the recording of this. If you're listening to this,
within the next
week, the week of release, this upcoming Friday. In like 5 days from the post of this chapter, 1043, in 5 days, we're getting a new issue of Jump. I think Jump is coming out early, but it doesn't matter because One Piece is on break, so we're not getting One Piece until the regular, 2 weeks from now. This is what we meant by Oda gave us a little final panel to freak out on and be like, hey, I'm banging out for a week, so y'all can handle that.
Dude, people have gone crazy already. There's like a lot of fan art, a lot of people being like, oh, like especially the people who think that it's like Luffy's hair and stuff. Like,
yeah,
I've seen quite some fan art like that, and it's like,
it's
One Piece internet is on fire.
Yeah, but yeah, we're on break next week, so we'll have some kind of break week episode. In the meantime, don't forget to follow us on all of our social media. We're at Paramecia Cast on Twitter, Paramecia Fancast everywhere else. The episodes will go up every single Monday following the official Sunday release, and as soon as they're posted to our hosting site, parameciafancast.libsyn.com, you can get the direct downloads there if you want like the actual direct download, or as soon as it's uploaded there, you can get it on all the major podcatchers like Spotify, iTunes, the 2 biggest ones, Google Podcasts, anything that can capture an RSS feed. You can search us up, and we're probably on there. Join the Discord. I think I called it out in the beginning of the episode, but the Paramecia Flower Capital, the permanent invite links to that is in all of our social media descriptions and like the pinned tweet and stuff. It's a good place. We've been having a whole bunch of people join. It's a really fun time. Like I said, we have a text channel for manga reactions. And dude, when this chapter came out, I was at work and my phone was blowing up because everybody was just like, what on earth is going on?
Dude, like, I'm not gonna lie. So like, okay, in the manga reactions channel, we do have a couple of people who like they read the like fan translations, but like we're very like strict about it. Like spoil that shit and even still be like vague about it. And
everybody's so good about like spoiling it, like or putting the spoiler tags on everything.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone's troopers.
On the yeah. If you don't want to get spoiled on the Discord, like, you do not have to worry about it.
Right.
They such a good job.
But I have brainworms who sees a spoiler regardless of anything,
click it.
And I click it, and I was like, oh, I saw something. It was like a in joke on the Discord essentially, and immediately like I understood what was happening. The chapter, I was like, shit, and I was like on Saturday night, I was like, I need to go to sleep now. I need it to be tomorrow. Now.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. There was one, and it was there was one that Rox D. Dwayne posted. It was like, Mr. 3 has returned. Luffy's Mr. 3 at the end.
Oh my god. I almost like blacked out. Like from like a gasp laughing, like all the air, much like Luffy, all the air left me, man. Holy
Luffy
shit.
inherited the will of 3. That's the part that gets me every time.
Oh no.
So, oh my god.
That's the crack theory. Thank you. We outsource, baby.
Yeah, the next spoiler that Roxy Dwayne posted was a text sentence that all it said was, y'all MFers really think it's Joy Boy. I think that's the best crack theory to end this on.